Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the keto diet and whether or not it's the diet for you, some of its benefits, and how to do it effectively. So I'm going to start by talking about the benefits of the keto diet, which is a high fat, very low carb and moderate protein diet. It's been kind of like new in the health food industry. People are just starting to get on board with it and trying it out, so I thought it'd be perfect timing to make this video. I have tried it myself, and I'll kind of get into some of my results in a bit. But the very first thing is with its benefits. Usually if you do it effectively, people will notice that they get significant weight loss. What is happening is as you go into ketosis, you're shifting your body's ability to burn carbs as fuel, and it'll start burning fat as fuel, which means your fat as fuel. Once you actually officially get into ketosis is when the weight loss will start to happen. Obviously you're going to pair it with exercise and other stuff, but weight loss is really one of the biggest things that people notice. The second thing would be it helps with your blood sugar imbalances. Usually when you eat fat, it takes a little bit longer to break down in the body, which means better blood sugar regulation, and you're not going to get that fluctuation. So it really helps if you have fatigue and any other issues like that. Fantastic for any type of mental health. So if you have depression, if you have seizures or epilepsy, there have been studies that show that eating a very high fat diet is beneficial for that. So I noticed for me was depression. It really helped with that because your brain is mostly fat. So it does rely on fat as fuel. It's great to do when you're trying to detox candida and parasites, because you're doing such low carb, they're not really going to have much of a fuel source in terms of sugar and things like that. So usually if you're doing the ketogenic diet, you're going to start cleansing candida, and it's also great. Usually you're eating a little bit healthier when you're not eating the refined carbs and sugars. And then also it's great for your skin health. Your skin needs a lot of fat in order to be more healthy looking. So getting fat in your diet is amazing for that. So those are just some of the benefits. There are loads more. I'm gonna just kind of talk a little bit about whether or not you should personally do it, and then I'm gonna talk about how to do it so it works and it's effective for you. So the first thing is you should be avoiding the ketogenic diet if, number one, you have liver toxicity. So honestly, most people do have liver toxicity in our world today. So I recommend not throwing yourself into a keto diet because you're like, I'm going to kill candida and I'm going to lose weight. I recommend doing some liver cleansing first and then moving on to the keto diet. And the reason is your liver is the number one site that will help break down and emulsify all the fats that you eat. It releases bile and pancreatic enzymes so that you can digest all those fats, and not only digest them, but utilize them. If your liver is not functioning properly, it is extremely hard on your liver to have to break down all of that fat, and it can actually lead to more issues with the liver in the long run. So this is not a diet you're just going to hop into. This is something you need to prepare for, and one of the ways to prepare for it is by doing some good liver kidney drainage and some gallbladder drainage. Make sure your body's ready to handle the high amount of fat it is going to be consuming, because like I said, it's very hard on the liver. The other thing is if you have some major hormonal imbalances, some major thyroid issues, you also want to be careful that you're not just doing a keto diet, because when you do have certain hormonal imbalances and certain blood sugar imbalances even, not getting enough carbs can really cause major fatigue, and you can start getting a lot of issues. So when you do this diet, I would consider doing it with the help of a practitioner, so they can make sure that your body's functioning optimally to handle this type of diet. But my best thing is if you do start the ketogenic diet and you're feeling brutal and exhausted, then it might be not the right time to do it. Maybe get off of it, do some more liver cleansing, and then get back in. I'm going to explain why you might feel bad on the keto diet in just a bit. So there's a couple of reasons why that might happen as well. But the next thing is that it's not a diet to do long term. This is not something you're going to try to do for years. I do not recommend that. Your body does need carbs. It needs glucose to function. And this diet, it's great if you do it, for a small period of time and then get back into eating carbs, because we are not designed to be carb free for life. So this is not a long-term diet. This is something that you can try out to help, if you need help in terms of your mental health or candida cleansing and weight loss. And also if you have acidosis, so if you have a very acidic body and you have a hard time alkalizing it, I also do not recommend doing the keto diet, because fats are acidic, and it is a very acidic diet overall. So there's a couple of things you can do to make it less acidic, which again I'll get into in just a bit, but I recommend trying to alkalize your body first with some supplements and certain foods, and then when your body's pH is balanced a little bit better, then maybe consider the keto diet. So now I'm going to get into actually how to do it so it's effective and efficient. I know so many people who tried the keto diet and said that nothing happened. They didn't notice any weight loss. They felt like garbage. They gave up because it was exhausting, all of that. So I'm going to give you some tips, and these are tips that I did for myself, and they worked fantastic. And it just makes the keto diet a little bit easier, but also very effective, so you're not wasting time on this diet. The first thing is you don't want to just throw yourself into the keto diet. I actually did that the first time around, and I had some horrible side effects, which I'll get into. But you really want to work up to the keto diet. So after you make sure your liver is able to handle that high amount of fat, what you want to do is don't just stop eating carbs and hop all into fat. You want to just gradually increase your fat consumption over weeks. Some people need months, but I just say maybe a week or two is sufficient. And as you're increasing your fat consumption, you want to decrease your carb consumption. So if you're used to having some type of grain every single day, I would say maybe cut the grain in half and increase some of the fat at that meal, and slowly do that. So you're getting rid of some carbs, you're adding in fats until you feel comfortable. And as you do this, your body will start to shift from using carbs as fuel to using fat as fuel. When that happens, you'll be in ketosis. Most people actually can feel when they're in ketosis because they feel like their metabolism is just revved up, that they are not as hungry all the time because, you know, they're full on fat. So some people really notice and just tell, I must be in ketosis, just based off of how they feel. But after you do that for about 2 weeks, some people need up to 4 weeks to really gradually work their way into ketosis. But once you do that, then you can really start to just do keto diet full on, and you'll do very, very, very low carb. I'm not going to get into details and specs in this video, but if you want to know the exact ratio of macros for the keto diet, you can just Google it. There's so much info on it. But the next thing is, keto diet is not supposed to be long-term, so really make sure that if you're going to do it, maybe do for 30 days and then move into carb cycling if you enjoy eating keto. So a lot of people just really like eating a lot of fat and not so much carbs. So if you like that lifestyle, don't do keto the rest of your life, but do something called carb cycling, where one day you're keto, 1 to 2 days you're eating carbs, then one day keto, 1 to 2 days eating carbs, and you just keep doing that. And what that does is it's keeping your body in ketosis because your body is still efficient at burning fat as fuel. But when you give your body some carbs, it's able to restock its glycogen stores. So you can keep your energy levels up, you can exercise and all of that without feeling exhausted. And then when you stop eating the carbs the next day, then your body just starts using your fat as fuel again. So your body's able to do both at the same time, provided you do about a month, sometimes maybe a little longer, of just keto. But that's what I did for a while. Was I did keto for about 30 days, and then I did carb cycling for almost a year. I'm now just off of keto altogether, but I still do eat a lot of fat and things like that. The next thing is you want to eat alkaline. So many people I know do keto all wrong, and they think it's an excuse to do butter, bacon, and cheese and all sorts of foods that are really acidic and also really bad for you. So if you are going to do keto, do not do it that way. You have to make sure you're getting tons of vegetables, lots of alkaline foods, and not, you know, any acidic bacon and stuff like crazy. Now, that being said, you can still have bacon here and there, but just try to make sure you're getting tons of vegetables and all of that in. You can even do some berries on the keto diet without affecting ketosis, so you can add some of that in. But yes, definitely don't just be like dairy and meat, because you will get very acidic very quickly, and you will notice that your liver will start to strain, and you'll get a lot of other issues in the long run. The next thing you want to make sure you're doing is taking digestive enzymes. So throughout the keto diet, you have to make sure you're taking pancreatic enzymes that contain ox bile. I like pancreatin from Genestra brands. I'll leave it in the description box below, but you have to make sure you're taking this so that you're supporting your liver to handle this huge fat load, literally. Your liver is going to take some time to start pumping out enough enzymes to break all of this down. So you're going to have to support it throughout this phase. Make sure you're getting enough bile and pancreatic enzymes to actually digest all of this. Another thing too that people do is they think that they can eat as much protein as they want on the keto diet, but you actually can't. protein, when your body is deficient or there's a carb deficit, your body will use protein and convert that to glucose, which means you'll be out of ketosis if you're eating too much protein. It'll be just the same as eating lots of carbs. So you always want to do a ton of fat. And like I said, you can Google the exact macros and ratios, but you always want to do a ton of fat, just a little bit of protein, and very, very, very little carbs. You don't want to just do chicken breast and meat and everything at every single meal. Because that will kind of push you back out of ketosis and back into your body using protein and carbs as its fuel. So definitely make sure you're doing high fat for this to actually be effective and for you to actually enter ketosis if that's what you're going for. And then another thing too, now that that's kind of how to do it, those are just some tips. There's way more, like drink a ton of water. I also recommend if you're a woman to only do keto, like don't do it for a long period of time. And also make sure your exercising is not super intense, especially initially, because your body will need to adjust and you will feel exhausted, and it's a lot of strain on your body if you're doing hard weight lift, like working out and lifting weights before you are adjusting. So give your body time to adjust before entering super vigorous workout routines. I recommend lighter workouts, some yoga or something maybe. But just finishing up here, there can be some side effects to the keto diet in terms of how you feel, and it's very common for people to get something called the keto flu, which usually within the first couple weeks you'll experience. And pretty much what it is it's nausea, it's dizziness, it's weakness. Some people even get vomiting, that you just feel like completely under the weather and like garbage. And what's just happening is your body is learning how to function without carbs. Your body's literally starving because you're not eating carbs, and you'll start to feel very sick. Usually it doesn't last, and as you go and you stick with the diet, your body will shift into ketosis, and once that happens and your body now has fat for fuel, your energy levels will come up and all of those symptoms should go away. If you're still feeling nausea, that's a very good sign that you're having a hard time digesting fats, and I highly recommend upping the digestive enzymes. And if it still continues with that, I would say stop the keto diet, do some more liver cleansing so your liver can handle that fat, and then get back into it. But keto flu is very common, so it's just something I want you guys to be aware of. And then also just some things that I noticed when I was on the keto diet was that while I was on it, I didn't notice like insane amounts of weight loss. But what I did notice that was when I got off of the keto diet, my appetite kind of like shrunk because I was so used to, I didn't eat as much on the keto diet because I felt very full all the time with all the fat, that after I stopped the keto diet, I wasn't eating as much. So it was very easy for me to keep my weight under control and not have to, you know, gain so much weight. Something else that I noticed too was as I started shifting from keto diets to carb cycling, that my weight melted off. So even though I was eating high carbs on some of the days, it was still very easy to maintain my weight because my body was now able to use both carbs and fat for fuel to just burn calories wherever. So it's very effective if you do it properly, if you actually get into proper ketosis, and there are ways to test. I think there's even like a watch and things you can wear that tells you if you're in ketosis, but I'm not sure. But there are definitely things you can do to really just, you know, confirm. But it's pretty safe to say that if you're doing it for 30 days and you're doing the true keto diet where you're not doing crazy amounts of protein and you're doing higher fat, you should be in ketosis at the end of 30 days easily. And once you are, it should be, you know, much easier to keep weight off and all the rest of it. So those are just my tips on the keto diet. Just be careful that you're not just jumping into it without doing some research or talking to a healthcare practitioner, because it can definitely have some side effects if you know, don't do it the right way. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. If you are not following me on Instagram, click the link in the description box below to make sure you're following me there, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.